Hi, Susan here, and welcome to the Not Too Shabby Shop channel. Today I am going to show you how I created two cards using the Captivating Camelias by Sunny Studio, and you can find this stamp set in the Not Too Shabby Shop. And so I've already used it, so I have stained it up a bit, but I wanted to show you, this is one of the stamp sets where you don't need to color. It does it all for you. So it has several layers for each flower and each thing that's in the set. So you get one large flower, and then you get like a bud, a flower bud, and then you get some ladybugs and Happy Mother's Day, as well as leaves. So you get you get 3 stamps to layer the leaves, 4 stamps that layers the big flower, and then 4 stamps that layers the little bud for the flower. And then you get a few stamps you actually get 5 stamps for each flower because there's a centerpiece, but I didn't use that in mine. You'll see in just a moment. And then you get a few stamps to make your ladybug. So I wanted to show you, you can use so many different color combinations to make this flower. So like for this one, I only layered 3 of the stamps and left some white. And then for this one, I've layered all of the stamps together to make the flower, but you can just use so many different colors for these stamps or for these flowers, and they turn out so beautiful. And so you have all the different layers for your flower. Let me hold that up so you can see it. And there's so many different layers, and so I've cut around these, and so these I've left a white edge, and so this one I did not leave the white edge. I just cut close to the flower, and so you can do that. And here's one of the little buds. And so I've layered them up in different colors, and I will show you in a moment how I stamped mine. So today I'm also going to be showing you how I made these 2 cards, and I really want to focus on how I created the backgrounds for each card. So let's go ahead and get started on creating these cards. To get started, I am going to be using my stamping platform. If you don't have a stamping platform, you can still do this with your block. It's just going to take a little bit longer, but for me this was a lot easier using my stamping platform. So I'm going to start out with stamp 1A, and these stamps are labeled on the plastic sheet that they're attached to. They are labeled 1A, 1B, and so forth, so that you know which layer to use and when. I'm going to be using Ranger Pink Peony, Memento Rosebud, and Memento Angel Pink. And so I'm going to be using 3 colors of pink. Even though there's 4 stamps, I'm just using 3 colors because that's what I had. I went through my stash and found 3 pinks that would work together so that I could get my layers. And you want to start with your darkest color. So 1A, I am stamping with Rosebud. And you're just going to work from your darkest color down to your lightest color using each stamp. Once I get 1A stamped, I come back with stamp 1B, and I'm just going to line it up on top of the image from 1A. Now I do want to tell you to be sure that your stamps are clean when you do this, because if not, you're going to smudge because you're going to be rubbing it around and trying to get in the right spot. And so for the second stamp, I'm going to be using Pink Penny, and I'm going to stamp it twice. And I have found with this stamp set that there's just a little learning curve. Just play with it when you first get it. Play with it, just play with different colors and different layers. And the more you play with it, the easier it gets to line these stamps up. And you'll get where you don't even think about it when you lay the next layer on top. And it only takes a few minutes of playing with it to do that. In one evening, I got the hang of it in just a few minutes. And so for the next layer, we're going to pull out 1C, and I'm going to stamp 1C with the same color I did as 1B. I'm going to use the Pink Peony. Even though they're the exact same color, it still seemed to show the layers. The layers showed up, and I did do a test, and I used all the same color to stamp this flower with each layer, and you still got some of the layers. It just wasn't as defined. So I do like using more than one color. And so for stamp 1C, I'm going to do just like I did with 1B, and I'm going to stamp it twice because I found with this ink, I needed to stamp twice to get a good crisp image. Then you just come back with stamp 1D, and you're going to use your lightest color. And for me, that was Angel Pink. And I think that when you use this last one, it pulls it all together, but you don't have to use stamp 1D. Some of my flowers, I left it as is and did not add that last layer. And the white in between, I thought really added to the flowers well. So let's get started on the background. The first one is the pink one. And so I'm just taking a piece of cardstock that I have cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just taking my blending tool along with the Memento Angel Pink, and I'm blending from the outer edge to the center. So by doing that, your center is going to be lighter than your outer edge, and that's what I was going for, was a darker edge to sort of frame it out. Then I'm taking stamp 1C, and I am stamping with the same exact color, which is Angel Pink, and I'm just going to stamp the flowers randomly around the piece of cardstock. And I love the effect that it gives of the lighter and darker of the same color. Now for the second background, I'm using the blues. And so this time I'm using Memento Summer Sky, and I'm also going to be using green, and I'm going to be using the Memento New Sprout. So I'll start again with stamp 1C, since we can get the entire flower image with it. And I'm just going to randomly stamp around the cardstock, which measures 4 by 5 1/4 once again. And this time I want to make sure too that I have a piece of scrap paper underneath, because I am stamping off the edge again, and I did stamp off the edge with the pink one as well. I love the effect of stamping off the edge and having some flowers part of the way on and some off. Now I'm going to come back with stamp 3B, which is our leaf. It's the second stamp that you would use in making a leaf, and you can get an entire leaf by using this stamp. So I'm just going to use my New Sprout, and I'm just going to stamp the leaf randomly around the piece of cardstock. Keep in mind that the center of the cardstock is going to be covered up, so you really don't have to stamp it, but I did go in and just fill it up. So here are both of the backgrounds, and I love how both of them turned out, and I love this stamp 1C even without the layers of the other flowers. So now I'm coming in with a piece of white cardstock that measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and this is just cardstock that I have printed from my printer Happy Birthday on, because I did not have a stamp that I wanted to use on this card. And so this is just a font I chose on my computer and then printed it out and cut the cardstock to the size that I wanted. And once I have that glued on, I'm just coming back and adding foam dots to my flowers and my little rosebud, or I guess it's not a rosebud, it's a camellia, so it's the little flower bud. And so I'm adding the foam dots to those, but I'm gluing the leaves on flat. I'm not adding foam dots to those. And then I'm just going to pop up the two flowers together. And this is a very simple card. Both of them are very simple. You could mass make these and have enough birthday cards for the rest of the year to send out to each person, and you wouldn't have to worry about having any cards on stock. You could also change the sentiment to get well soon or to thanks or anything. The sentiment could actually be changed. I did go back and add some sequins, and that's just from last month's Not Too Shabby subscription box. When we got the sequins last month, I just added some of those to the card front as well. Well, I hope that you will give this stamp a try as well as give these backgrounds a try. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.